Natsuo Fujii comes to Fumiya Kuramoto's friend. He hugs him, saying that his body is delicate, but not comparable to a woman's. The friend understands what happened and asks for details. Natsuo starts telling the story. He was sitting with classmates who were discussing a teacher with an affair with a student. Teacher Hina Takabana asks not to spread rumors. Natsuo is in love with her, but the love is not mutual. The guys admired the beauty of the teacher they would like to date. Classmate Yuya Masayaka offers to go on a group date with his peers. The blue-haired girl introduced herself as Rui Takabana. They met at the soda machines and started talking. When asked about sullenness, she replied that such meetings were not for her. He admitted that he was also not a supporter since he did not spend time like this before changing his image. He noticed similarities with Hina and the girl and encouraged her that she would get used to it and like it. However, she offered to leave together. On the way, she asks for a favor and invites you to her place. She offers to play, which shocks the guy. She added that after the game they would forget about it. He asked the reason for the offer and his choice. Rui replied that she needed experience because she was not perceived as an adult, and the choice fell on the guy because he also had no experience. He thought about his beloved, but agrees to the offer. And here he is, talking about what happened. Fumiya doesn't understand why such a lucky guy is sad. Natsuo believes that playing with someone you don't love is wrong. Natsuo is writing a novel on the roof. Hina is interested in progress. He asks her not to read it, which she sulks at and says she should have read it earlier. She remembers that a year has passed since that meeting when she was just starting to teach. He asks how she is doing because the girl usually came sad and offers to listen to her, but she only laughs it off. In the evening, he returns and sees his father talking on the phone. The next day, he rushes to the roof and discovers a crying teacher. She is upset that the guy caught her in such a state. She refuses to offer help because he is too small for adult problems and he does not understand. He asks not to be treated like a child. She gets a call and that's the end of the conversation. He returns home, after which his father, named Akihito Fujii, tells him that he is thinking of getting married again. Natsuo is surprised by the news, but does not mind because mom has been gone for a long time. The father adds that his new woman will come to meet him today and leads him to open the door where Tsukiko Takabana is already standing. She brings her daughters Hina and Rui to meet. The teacher laughs at the coincidence and the guy loses consciousness. Later, Hina introduces the teenagers and asks if they are familiar, but the blue-haired woman replies that she sees him for the first time. Natsuo asks Tsukiko why she fell in love with Akihito. She replies that her ex-husband cheated and went to his mistress, and Akihito gave her the opportunity to trust again. In the hallway, he meets Rui, who says that she could not imagine that everything would turn out this way. He asks what he's going to do with his parents' wedding. The girl replies that she will not interfere with mom's happiness because of her reasons. In the evening, the guy declares that he approves of the marriage. My father thanks me and tells me that he has already bought a new house and they are moving. His friend is annoyed by the situation. Then they move to a new house. The girl says that the move is almost over and is glad that they are now relatives, and she also intends to look for interesting magazines from him. He asks you not to say such things. In the hallway, he meets Rui, who tells him to stop acting weird. Hina comes out of the shower, forgetting that now they don't live in threesomes. She returns already dressed, gets drunk and falls asleep in the living room. He tries to wake her up, after which he decides to kiss the girl and forget about his dreams of being with her, but he is interrupted by Rui. The girl takes her sister to bed and says that Hina is to blame for being defenseless. The guy is bothered by her words and notices that he overslept. He comes to school with a disheveled hairstyle. One of the classmates tells me that a beautiful new girl is coming and offers to take a look. Rui notices the guy and says that his hairstyle is terrible and he forgot the breakfast that his mother made. He shuts her up and later tells her not to spread the information that they are now living together. But she only cares if he will fix the nightmare on his head and adds that if he doesn't want to talk to her, then the girl doesn't mind. His friends start asking what happened between them after the date, but he doesn't confess. Later, Hina comments on his hairstyle. He replies that he didn't have time. The girl is surprised and says that she asked Rui to wake him up. She adds that his hairstyle is cute. He also suggests that she not advertise their relationship, to which the girl agrees. He asks about last night and the girl starts to worry that they kissed on her initiative. He assures me that this did not happen. She adds that she relaxes a lot at home and will be more careful in the future, but apologizes in advance if she throws difficulties again. He silently asks her for such difficulties. Later, he notices that Rui was having lunch alone. She says that with each change there were fewer people willing to make friends with her and suggests that he fix his hair. He understands that she is antisocial and offers to help her make friends. He starts a conversation, and she has to support him. However, she doesn't really succeed and they switch to raised tones. This amuses others and they again offer the girl to be friends. Later, the guy is going to wash up, but it's busy. The girl says that he has already seen everything and calls back. He refuses, but she begs very much. However, it was only a fantasy. She suggests discussing why he wanted to kiss Hina and whether he knows about Hina's boyfriend. Realizing that he doesn't know anything, he leaves. The next day, at breakfast, their parents say that today they will go to the registry office and submit an application. Hina says she will look after the younger ones and cook dinner. However, Mom asks Rui to help with the cooking. Later, Natsuo sees a perfectly cooked dinner that tastes even better. He praises Hina for her cooking skills. She admits that she cooked Rui, but she only chopped vegetables. Natsuo cheers her on and says she did a great job. Later, Hina decides to rest while he washes the dishes. She is interested in how his writing is progressing. He replies that everything is fine and asks about her problems with her boyfriend. She asks not to worry about her and turns the topic to his problems that he wants to discuss. It reminds me of the hairstyle. She comes up to him and says that he doesn't need to worry about it because the guy looks cute. And she adds that she is jealous of his hair because her hair is stiff and tickles his face. Suddenly she stumbles and he picks her up, telling her to be careful. She gets a call, after which she goes outside and asks not to follow her. He waits for a while, but unable to stand it, follows her and sees her running home and closing the door. He asks about her condition and turns her around, but she is silent. The doorbell starts ringing. Rui comes and opens the door. Behind her are the parents who had a great time. Then he continues to write a novel and after that he goes to a cafe where a friend works. He tells him about what happened and gets understanding in response, as a friend often encounters this. Natsuo thinks that the friend is also in love, but he explains that he eavesdrops on clients and yesterday caught an unfaithful husband with a mistress as well as a girl with relationship problems and many other cases. Next, they act out a small scene of a conversation between an unfaithful husband and a mistress. A man named Masaki Kobayashi in a pink wig bursts into their dialogue and they continue to fool around. The Ayano waitress was just watching. Later, Natsuo thanks a friend for lifting his spirits. Fumiya says that in front of them is the same girl whose dialogue they were acting out. It was Hina who was talking to someone. Later, Natsuo asks Hina if she is dating a married man and asks her to break up with him. She replies that he is too young to get into adult problems and throws him out. Then he kisses her. She pushes him away, then pulls him in to kiss him and then pushes him onto the bed. She tears off his shirt and looks into his eyes. Then he says that despite his attempts to do something brave, his eyes are still childish. She gets up and asks to leave. She asks herself what she's doing. In the morning, the father discovers a note from Natsuo which says that he has gone to a friend for a few days. Akihito and Tsukiko blame themselves for what happened. Hina is nervous. Fumiya returns home, where he finds Natsuo in the same position in which he left him. They're discussing what happened yesterday. Natsuo says that he is to blame for what happened. Fumiya replies that if he accepts defeat, then he will hit on Hina and she will get to him. These words make Natsuo angry and he asks not to say such things. Fumiya's mom asks them to be quiet. He replies that he was asked to stretch and he helps a friend, which convinces the woman. Later, he adds that the guy has the strength to fight back, so everything will be fine. A friend suggests not to waste time and start writing a new story. He listens to the advice. Next, he decides to take a break and looks out the window where he sees Rui, who is looking for him like a kitten. She notices him at the window and asks about the opportunity to keep them company. He is surprised that she doesn't call him back home. He comes down and says that he is not the one who decides whether to let her into the house. Fumiya's mom comes and they get to know each other. He says it's the younger sister, but the girl says she's older. They compare the dates of birth and the girl gets upset when she turns out to be younger. Mom suggests we go inside. Fumiya returns home, who discovers more people and begins a showdown. A friend's younger sister returns and asks about her brother's new girlfriend. Fumiya brazenly lies that Rui is his girlfriend. They discuss problems. The girl says that she ran away in protest because her sister changed after the relationship. She asked her sister to break up, but she only said that she did not understand. Fumiya suggests that this is the reason Rui invited Natsuo to play. The girl is angry that the guy told about the game, but after learning that Fumiya studies at another school, she calmed down. Next, they develop a plan for Hina to break up with her boyfriend and then return home. The parents are sitting in the living room with a divorce notice. They tearfully ask to immediately say what is bothering them. Hina comes to them, who also cries and apologizes. After the lessons, they are going to follow Hina. The girl treats him to a bun and milk as she is not sure when they will be able to eat. They follow her and wait for her to meet her boyfriend, but she only gets drunk for a long time and then runs to the show, at the end of which she praises the guys and goes home. A few days pass like this, but she always spends them alone. The guy has a feeling that they will achieve a result today. They see that the girl is nervous and looks at the time. She met with a student, which disappoints the guys. Then the guys decide to apply a different plan. While the girl goes to the shower, they take her phone and call her boyfriend to break up. However, Rui gets nervous and gets dumped. Later, they are sitting in a cafe where Masaki asks why they are sad. They bring him up to date. Hina comes into the cafe with her boyfriend. Natsuo can't stand it and directly asks the man to break up. Masaki calms him down. Then they have dinner. A man named Shu Hajiwara introduces himself. Rui asks you to answer who initiated the relationship. Shu replies that it was him, but he is going to divorce his wife. Natsuo can't stand it and shouts at the man that he is acting ugly towards his wife and Hina. Shu asks if he will accept their relationship if he divorces his wife. Natsuo replies that he doesn't trust a man who makes his beloved cry. Shu is surprised that he upset the girl and says that he wants to break up with his wife and be with her. Rui throws water on the man and runs away. Natsuo runs after her. He thanks her for what she did, because he was going to do worse things. She says she was going to hit him too. He suggests going back and marking the cafe well outside, but she replies that he should go alone as she cannot see Shu's face. She can't stand it and starts crying, throwing herself into the guy's arms. At this time, Hina apologizes for her sister. He says that their sense of justice is heightened at their age and notice that Natsuo is in love with her. She replies that he is still a child, and they are very dear to her, so she offers to take a break from each other for a while. He hugs her and asks her how she feels, not them. The next day, Natsuo discovers Rui with an unimportant look, who asks if her eyes are red. In the living room, Hina calls Rui for shopping, but she just leaves. Then the girl calls Natsuo and he says it's not today and leaves. She asks her father where he went. He replies that he visits his mother's grave every year. Akihito says that when Natsuo was little, he was very attached to his mother and in order not to upset her, the guy stopped crying. Even when she left this world, the guy held on so as not to upset her. He was about to leave, but Hina and Rui came and brought flowers. Hina says that they brought what his mother loved, and she also says that she broke up with Shu. Then they pray together at the grave, posing as the new Natsuo sisters. After a while, Rui asks the reason why he ran away from home. He runs away, answering that he forgot. She assumes that he found DVDs with interesting content at Hina. At school, she meets a classmate Momo Kashiwabara, who offers to be friends and gives a toy as a sign of friendship. Later, other classmates offer to have lunch together and notice the toy and throw it away. They tell the girl not to talk to Momo, otherwise she will get the flirting virus. They say that Momo dated half of the school and it annoys them terribly. But Rui takes out a toy and says that she will decide whether to be friends with her or not. Later, she meets Momo again and says that she made another toy and then invites them to go home together. On the way, they eat ice cream and Rui asks about her rich experience in a relationship. The girl replies that she had 30 boyfriends, but in order to start a new relationship, she ended the old ones. Then they spend a lot of time together. At the bookstore, they meet with Natsuo, who offers to borrow a book to read. After that, they go home and he saves the girl from the cyclist, which embarrasses the girl. As he goes about his business, Momo asks permission to fall in love with a guy. Rui hesitantly replied that she didn't care. The girl is happy and asks for help with the relationship. Rui later regrets his words. The next day she is going to go home because she feels feverish. Natsuo offers to escort her, but she refuses. A little later, Momo comes up to him and hands him a note with an offer to go on a date. However, the guy returns home to take care of the girl. She asks for water and a change of clothes as she is sweating. She starts to undress, which embarrasses the guy. He is about to leave the room, but she asks for help with her back. He rubs her back, trying to drive away the wrong thoughts. After changing her clothes, she falls asleep and after getting some sleep, wakes up and sees Natsuo reading. She asks him if he has someone he likes. She adds that Momo asked for help with the relationship. The girl has a fever, so he calls his stepmother to get advice. She advises to put candles on, but Rui asks to put them on her as she is too weak. The guy is embarrassed, but he does it anyway. Later, he is thanked for taking care of Rui. At school, he apologizes to the girl, saying that he does not sit on social networks. She is satisfied with the answer, which means that he did not reject her. Later, his friends tell rumors about Momo. They have lunch together at recess. She notices his sad look and kisses him to cheer him up and invites him to her place. They sit on the bed and kiss, after which she puts him on the bed, takes off his jacket and unbuttons his shirt. He receives a message from Rui, who asks what he will have for dinner. She is glad that in his family it is customary to eat together, unlike hers. They continue where they left off, but he notices the marks on his wrist. The girl assures me that everything is fine, but he gets out of bed and buttons up his shirt and prepares food to eat together. She is touched by his act and suggests starting a relationship. He refuses because they shouldn't start a relationship. Later, he reads a book by his favorite author Yo Hasakawa, noticing literature teacher Ryoji Kiriya. He says that he gave a self-study assignment and is glad to see a student who is preparing for his lessons asking about his favorite authors. The guy lists the authors, including the one he has just read. Ryuji says he has good taste and adds that he feels they will get along. Next, the guy meets Rui, who offers to join some club. She adds that Momo told her how he cooked her food. She starts sulking because he didn't cook for her. He justifies himself by saying that she is able to cook better and promises that he will cook for her too. In response, the girl says that she doesn't care, but it was clear from her face that the girl was jealous. He realizes that he left the girl alone and he feels ashamed. Later, his classmates invite him to spend time and he talks about his plans to go clubbing with Rui. The guys follow them to go to the women's clubs, but after going through all the sports clubs, the guys leave. The girl is unhappy with their behavior and the guy apologizes for his friends. They stumble upon a literary club where a guy takes a Yo Hasukawa book without permission. He returns the book the next day where he notices something strange between the teacher and the student. He asks what happened between them. The head of the club named Miu Ashihara explains that she helped to remove a speck from her eye. Ryuji notices the book and blackmails him into joining the club, otherwise he will report the theft. He is tasked with handing out flyers to attract new club members. Rui asks why he is doing this. He replies that he got caught and is now being blackmailed, but he has not yet decided that he will join. Ryuji appears, who says that he has applied for membership on behalf of the guy. Having completed the task, he decides to check out Miu, which has almost not distributed flyers. He offers to help and encourages her. She thanks him for his kindness. The next day, he finds a note about a class at the club. Ryuji asks about the experience in writing. Natsuo replies that he has an almost finished novel. The man says that Miu also writes romance and adds that this genre needs a love experience, so he suggests they kiss. The girl is ready for a kiss, but the guy doubts it. When he almost kissed the girl, he notices the tears, stops and gives her a handkerchief. Ryuji says he has understood his character and wants to read his novel. At home, Hina is interested in the activities of Natsuo, who draws a poster and then treats the guys. Rui wants to join the club, even though she wasn't interested in writing before. The next day, he tells Miu about the new member. The girl is happy and writes thanks for the handkerchief and gives a candy. He asks why she can't speak and she shows a sign about silence. They correspond about yesterday, where she apologizes for crying, and in response he writes that the teacher looks like a villain, which makes the girl laugh. After lessons, Rui and Momo are waiting to join the club, although the second one does not like reading. Miu says she has heard of Momo, as her name often appears on the academic record board. He is surprised that the girl is smart. Momo says that sometimes her grades drop because of the relationship. Seeing the girl's relationship with Natsuo, Rui's eyes water. She comes to the cafe to understand her feelings, which did not exist before. Masaki tells the story that in the past he was the right-hand man of the Yakuza and one day he met Jin Katsuragi, after which he could no longer engage in criminal activities. A man advises you to trust your feelings. At this time, Hina thanks Natsuo and suggests going out together. They come to a cafe that is popular. They admire the food at the same time, which makes each other laugh. The owner of the establishment takes them for a great couple. She notices that the guy is confused, takes away the wrong thoughts from him. After walking around the local attractions, they came to the beach. He decides to ask why she was dating a married man when her mom was cheated on. She replies that she met Shu at the age of Natsuo, then he was her first love and also her teacher. Then she had no friends and the man lifted her spirits and became her only friend. After graduation, she met him again, but he was already married, says Hina. She thinks those who cheat are pathetic, but she was glad to be with him. Natsuo passes on his novel and confesses his love. She suggests starting a relationship in secret. She starts to lead him into the water. The guy asks what she's doing. The girl replies that she is making a double exit from life because sooner or later they will find out about the relationship and they will have to turn away from everyone, which is equivalent to leaving life. She adds that when they come ashore, they will become brother and sister again. He asks for one request and hugs her tightly. They return home after changing their clothes. She reads his novel and cries. In the morning, he gets up in a bad mood and notices his novel and a thank you note. He was in a bad mood at school. In the evening, Rui comes to him, sits next to him on the bed and puts her hand on his. She says that they haven't kissed since the first meeting and offers to catch up. The guy is embarrassed and says that they are a family and she herself asked to forget about what happened between them. He remembers Hina's words and changes his mind, agreeing to a kiss. Having done this, she says that she liked it and offers to kiss secretly from time to time, after which she leaves. Embarrassed by the words, the guy hides under the pillow. The next day, he sees Miu, with whom he discusses the festival. They are visited by girls who suspect the guy of dirty deeds with the head of the club, after which everyone begins to discuss the festival. Ryuji tells the guys that he is pleased with the interest in the club, but they need to pass the exams well. After that, Natsuo and Rui beg Hina to help them with the preparation. Hina helps the guys by showing them which topics they are weak in. Rui teases Natsuo that the guy is focused on Miu, not on studying. Hina connects to her, who wants to know the details. Later, Natsuo gets mad at Rui because Hina might think badly of him. He goes to the girl's room and hears strange noises. He looks into the room and sees Hina playing in front of him. She whispers the name Shu, which causes the guy to drop the notebook in shock. The girl goes out into the corridor to find the source of the noise, but she does not find Natsuo. The next day, she meets a guy who says he's been preparing all night, so he doesn't look good. She advises not to overdo it, otherwise his efforts will be in vain, and waves her hand at him. There are exams that everyone passed perfectly, which Ryuji is glad about. Natsuo can't start writing, so he's going to go to school and calls Rui with him. She says she won't go and wonders if he took her underwear. He denies it and offers to look in the yard. He comes to school to get a book, where he is knocked down on a bicycle by a blonde guy named Alex J. Matsukawa. They get acquainted and go to a cafe, where they find out that the guy lived in America for a while and came back. Masaki calls a new friend a doll. Masaki also says that a laundry thief has appeared in the vicinity and you need to be careful. Alex says that he has heard of such people with the letter P and believes that underwear is just rags. Then they go home and the blonde asks Natsuo if he has a girlfriend. They notice the thief and detain him. Rui says to the police that she was scared when they called and said about him, and then she went to identify her underwear. Alex admires the beauty of the girl and asks to introduce them. Later, he talks about a friend and the girl is very offended by him. He brings her food and apologizes for his lack of tact. She asks him, after which they kiss. Hina sees it all. The guy tries to stop her, but he fails. Rui comes to her, who talks about her feelings for the guy. Hina says that this is wrong, because they are relatives. She replies that they are not blood, so there is nothing wrong with that. The next day, Alex is upset by the girl's refusal, but he will try to hit on the girl again. He asks why the guy is sad and Natsuo replies that there are problems at home. Alex advises to talk about it rather than waiting for something. Later, he decides to follow the advice and comes to Hina. He says his feelings haven't changed for her. The girl can't stand it and says she's going to move out. The next day, she tells her family about her decision. Rui asks if it's because of her, but the girl denies it. My father suggests that we all go to the festival together. On it, Rui says that they need to refrain from kissing for now. There they meet Ayano and her son, who says that Masaki is also here and is now beating the drum. Hina lights up her phone and is found by Natsuo, who takes her to a deserted place to talk. He asks her about the real reason for her move. She lies at first, but then says it's better for both of them. He asks for details, but she runs away from him. He asks Masaki to help stop the girl to continue the conversation. They argue about her childish behavior, but after calming her down, Masaki and Ayano leave them alone. She talks about being jealous of the guy and actually in love with him. After that, she gets embarrassed and is about to leave, but he hugs her and asks her to let him think that everything is fine with them. Hina collects her things and says that he can come to visit her, but changes her mind about her offer, seeing the guy's violent reaction. After that, Mom notices her daughter's sadness and suggests that she take a walk. She comes to the bookstore where she meets Ryuji with the shoe company. The man asks not to be angry because after the breakup he did not see Hina and offers to go to a cafe to make amends. She orders the most expensive dish because she still hasn't changed her mind. He says that he divorced his wife but does not contact Hina because her decision was to separate. Shu adds that he noticed a change in Hina's feelings and asked how she was doing. The girl talks about her sister's move and blames herself for it. The man supports her and says that her sister would not want her to be sad. Natsuo returns home and finds the key left by Hina. The next day, everyone helps with the move and discusses the independence of a girl who will be a good bride, which confuses the two. Later, the guy decides that he is ready to leave the world with Hina. He is going to the girl, but notices Rui and asks what she is thinking about. She hugs him and says she misses her sister, but thanks to the guy, she's not so sad. He hugs back and says that she can rely on him and her parents. The next day, Rui prepares dinner. Akihito says that she cooks Natsuo's favorite dish. She gets upset because he said he went to Fumiya's and won't be back for dinner. At this time, the guy comes to Hina, but the door is not open to him. He uses the key he received earlier and discovers the sleeping girl. She wakes up and is glad that he has come. He says that he is ready to leave the world with her and kisses her. Next, he offers to play, but she pushes him away. She pours coffee and says they shouldn't rush things and they have plenty of time. Summer holidays are ending. On the way, the guys discuss the readiness of the material for the festival. Rui remembers the guy's novel and asks to read it. He replies that he will give it to you one of these days. Suddenly, a blonde man runs into the guy with hugs, who is very happy to meet him. Alex notices the girl and is embarrassed, after which he introduces himself. He finds out that they are discussing club activities and wants to join too. Ryuji accepts him into the club because now they will have funding from the school. Later, Natsuo and his classmates meet Hina, with whom the guys begin to flirt. Next, Natsuo apologizes for the guys and asks about her readiness for a relationship. She asks him not to doubt her, after which they kiss. A school festival is taking place. The guys discuss the teacher's absence and decide to visit him, where a girl opens up to them. She lets them in to wait for him in the living room. They discuss in whispers who this girl is and assume that she is Ryuji's wife. He goes out and pleases the girl that he has finished his work. He tells the guys that she is his editor, as he moonlights as a writer under the pseudonym Yohasukawa. Natsuo loses his head from this information. Ryuji says that there is a competition that is looking for new writers and offers to apply. The guy immediately accepts the offer. The next day, Natsuo is still overwhelmed with joy and discusses it with Miu, who is also shocked by the shocking truth. It resembles Miu's reaction of joy when they found out that that girl turned out to be an editor and not a lover. Miu starts to deny it, but the guy won't let up. The girl gets angry and elbows him, which causes him to lose his balance. After that, Hina bursts into the room, worried about the guy's condition. Rui leaves them alone. The guy says he won't be able to visit the girl for a while. In the evening, Rui brings dinner and watches the guy eat. He says it bothers him to be stared at so intently. The girl kisses him and says that she is glad of the circumstances. At school, Miu tearfully apologizes and says she will do anything. His friends urge him to agree, since she is ready to do anything. Later, the guy takes a bath and Rui comes to him, who offers to help. He agrees if she helps in the dark. She lathers his back and offers to wash his leg or something in front. He says he can handle it on his own. She offers to lather him harder and searches for a bottle of soap, but finds the wrong thing she was looking for. After that, she looks at her hand in embarrassment. She comes to the cafe and tells Masaki about what happened. She also meets Fumiya and says that Natsuo has broken his leg and will not be able to come to visit, which he has been doing often lately. Fumiya says that the guy has not visited him for a long time. She returns home and asks about the lies. Natsuo continues to lie and says that he actually went to Momo. Later, he calls a friend and he tells him to warn him about this next time, and also congratulates him that his love turned out to be mutual. The next day, he informs Rui that he will go to Fumiya. The girl asks if he is going to go to a friend for sure and sends him greetings. However, the guy goes to Hina's, where they kiss and have dinner. He remembers how Rui helped him wash up and asks Hina if she would help him. She is embarrassed, but replies that she would help. He asks for help and they kiss again when there's a knock on the door. Hina assumes that this is a delivery and goes to open the door, behind which stands Rui with an umbrella. She goes inside, looks at the guy, and then runs away. Hina asks what he said to the girl before leaving. He replies that he will go to a friend. Natsuo comes home and finds out that the girl has not returned. A friend calls him and asks how are you, since Rui came to pick him up because of the rain. He finds her and apologizes to the girl. He says he knows that the girl went to Fumiya, but how did the girl realize that he was at Hina's? She replies that she returned home and did not find the guy, read his novel and realized that the story was written about a guy and her sister. She asks about her feelings for her sister and he confirms it. They return home and the girl does not tell the full truth why they got wet in the rain. He thanks her for not telling him, but she silently goes into the room. He remembers that he then told the girl that he was going to be with Hina and Rui takes the last kiss. On the way to school, the girl informs that from now on she does not like the guy and will dislike him. In class, the teacher announces that they will soon go on a school trip and this time swimsuits are allowed. He tells Hina about her sister's words and asks if their relationship is over. Later, Hina meets her sister in the hallway, but does not dare to talk to her. The club discusses the upcoming trip, where Ryuji announces that the short story competition has come to an end and Rui has become the winner. Everyone congratulates the girls and offers to celebrate it. After school, Miu says that she was very upset that she did not win the competition, but she is glad that she can feel the bitterness of losing. Natsuo comes to Ryuji and asks to take him on as an apprentice. He says that he was upset about losing the competition and although he has no talent, he still wants to become a writer. The man suggests practicing writing more rather than dreaming that talent solves everything. Ryuji gives books that should help with the guy's problems. Natsuo starts writing new stories and submits them to the teacher for evaluation, and also declares that he will write a story a week. Teacher for perseverance. Then they go on a school trip where they go through local attractions, and in the evening something strange happens in the form of male kisses, which occurred from intoxication due to the sauce. We also had the promised swimsuits on this trip. Rui takes Hina away and chastises her for looking inappropriate for a teacher. The girl is happy that Rui no longer ignores her. She promises that she will break up with the guy so that everything will be as before. Rui says that this will not solve the problem and adds that she is not against their relationship, and the girls put up. On the last day of the trip, they go shopping, where the guy buys a souvenir ring. He arranges a secret meeting with the girl. A guy offers to get married when a girl offers to break up with him. He is categorically against it and puts on her ring. They watch the fireworks and he asks Hina to marry him in the future, calling her by her first name for the first time. After that, they decide to play and discuss when they have feelings for each other. He tells about an incident that he accidentally saw when she was playing, which greatly embarrasses the girl, but he calms her down. Upon returning, Hina is called to the director and shown a photo of her kissing Natsuo. The girl clarifies that only they know about it and asks not to spread information about it. At the final ceremony, Hina announces her transfer to another school, which shocks her students. The guys discuss that Hina didn't warn them about this and doesn't get in touch anymore. In the evening, Hina meets Ryoji on the roof and thanks him for his help. He is surprised at how fate is shaping up, because Shu also had feelings for her, being her teacher. She says she couldn't have stopped her feelings. Natsuo runs to Hina's former apartment, where he finds a letter of apology left behind. She wrote that they found out about their relationship at school and she took care of everything and asked them not to look for her and move on. Rui tells Masaki and Fumiya about what happened and that the guy got discouraged. Fumiya comes to him and tries to talk to him. Ignoring angers the guy and he scolds the guy for his selfishness, because it was hard for Hina to make the decision to leave and take the blame on herself. Natsuo replies that he understands everything, but cannot accept it. Natsuo comes to Ryoji and asks to be allowed to take a break from writing weekly stories in order to write a bigger story. Tsukiko tells her husband that she has found where her daughter lives and that everything is fine with her, but you can't tell the children about it. They are still shocked that Natsuo and Hina had a relationship. At this time, Natsuo is writing a new story and Rui is taking care of the guy. She tells Masaki that the guy doesn't eat and it bothers her. The man promises to help with this. He brings the guy to the communal bathhouse to relax physically. He says that life is a difficult thing, but it continues and you need to move on with it. These words motivate the guy and it became easier for him. He continues to write his story and by the new year he finishes it, after which he leaves the room and apologizes for his condition. The guys go out to celebrate the new year and meet their friends. They are glad that the guy has come to his senses. They find out that the guy has finished his story and offer to bring it to Ryoji for evaluation. Ryoji is not happy about the sudden arrival of guests, but he lets them in. After the feast, the man evaluates the work of Natsuo. A little later, he calls a guy on a day off and introduces Suikaru Tsudeya, a man who works in the editorial department. A man leads to a ceremony dedicated to a literary competition in which Natsuo took first place. Ryoji admits that he secretly sent his work to the competition. Next, Natsuo is sent to make a speech and is given a reward. He returns home and rushes to hug the girl, saying that he missed her. But it turns out to be Rui, who is wearing a wig. She cries and runs off to her room. She says that she wanted to grow her hair out, and Momo lent her a wig. He says that he won first place in the competition, and the girl congratulates him on that. The girl says she cried when she realized how Hina felt when she was hugged by a loving person. And then she asks about playing with Hina, after which she fills him up and kisses him. She adds that now she will not restrain her feelings.